to negative news flow.
Right, lots coming up in the next 1 hour, but let's just set the context of the discussion that we're going to have right now. It is the rate hike fears that has caused a lot of the equity markets globally to see a sell-off. And as the Fed chair spoke, and I just quote, as I mentioned, the latest economic data has come in stronger than expected, which suggests that the ultimate level of interest rates is likely to be higher than previously anticipated. If the totality of the data were to indicate that faster tightening is warranted, we would be prepared to increase the pace of rate hikes. It's on the back of this quote that most global markets sold off. Ayaz Motiwala of QRC Investment Advisors and Nivalis Partners will be joining in just a bit to give us his view as well. Ayaz, good morning and thanks for joining us on the show. That's the big question, right? What is the expectation in the March meeting of the Fed in terms of rate hikes, and how much of it you think is already priced into global markets, including markets like India?
Good morning. Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a news sort of added surprise. I think people were optimistic, and which is where the markets have made this up move in the last, I want to say, about a month to two, where I guess the expectations were that we are, by the third quarter, we'll probably be done, with the rate hiking cycle, and then you may have a little bit of a sideways move. But that is on the prior data. Now that the inflation seems to be higher and more sticky, what you just mentioned is the current state of affairs. So this is a new piece of data, and the market is obviously a little surprised, and which is why we're seeing this reaction.
Ayaz, hi, good morning. I think the question everyone's grappling with is what is already in the price. There's a lot of chatter. It seems the consensus is now saying the Fed is going to peak at maybe near 6%. I don't know. What's your view on where the Fed peaks and how much of that is priced in?
Okay, so that is a little bit of beyond the scope of the markets we do look at honestly in terms of the factored sort of estimates. But clearly, I think the numbers are probably 50, 100 basis point higher than what one is thought would be probably a number closer to 5% earlier. So I guess these numbers could be 575, 6 as a peak estimate. The other important point, and I was reading a piece on expectations, is that we've had a long rally in the U.S. markets. While we also note that markets like Germany and France are near lifetime highs also, right? So in the whole sort of melee of all this news and negativity announced, we also have these things sort of happening in a global context. Bringing this discussion back to India, where there is much more comfort to talk with a lot of more confidence on what's really going on. One factor which needs to be clearly mentioned is that we sort of did not sync with the 10-year low rates for longer or forever kind of situation, right? So India being a high inflation country, we probably I think did a low of 6.5 or a little around that in our 10-year rates, let's say, right? So for our market to price in this new move of the 10-year crossing the 4% mark, etc., may have a limited impact in the context of this whole repricing that is being talked about in the global context. And I think that's very, very important for us as investors to note and participate accordingly.
All right. Hi, Ayaz. Good morning. This is Nigel on this side. It's been a while since we have spoken, Ayaz. But, normally when you join us, you tell us about the top quality under-researched, less crowded stock that you'll normally look at. I remember the last time you joined us, we were talking about the auto ancillary space and the scope for exports. I think Suprajit was a stock as well that we discussed. What's the recent big idea that you'll have got into here in our Indian markets? You can name a few stock if it's possible with due disclosures.
Sure. So top of the mind, is that, healthcare in the Asian context has always been a very, sort of bidded asset, even in terms of M&A or participation by private equity, etc. Right? So that's an area which now, after a 5 to 10 year period, or even a longer period, where I think the the expectation on insurance and payment through that mechanism is really becoming frictionless, and we actually see that as a meaningful contributor to the overall revenue of sort of listed corporate hospitals, if you will, right? As one of the drivers for that sort of side of the business. So it's both sort of insurance, which interests us a lot, and within that, the impact on businesses as India and Indians get more insured, paying for health insurance, paying for life insurance. We see that as a positive impact on the on the food chain down the line as well. So those are the areas that we've sort of been working on and that interests us. And we've obviously seen a few recent sort of listings in terms of hospitals in the last couple of years. Slightly behind that, or earlier, sorry, have been the listings of a few insurance companies as well. So I think that part of it is what is looking pretty interesting. There have been some challenges in terms of the COVID situation, and so it's been, for us included and the market, a difficult situation to try and pin down sort of near-term sustainable growth rate, the 1 to 3 year outlook. But I guess this could be the final year where we try and cite numbers of 19 and 20. And I think we all move on to try and compare businesses now on a base of 22, 23 going forward. So I think as these expectations sort of set in and we get a sense of sustainable growth rates in the in the 3 to 5 year outlook, there will be much more clarity on how investors look and participate in these companies going forward.
Got it. Okay, insurance is on your radar. Ayaz, thanks a lot for joining in and giving us an update on what's happening globally as well as what you like in our markets. Thanks for stopping by. Well, that's the word coming in from our global expert. Let's dip into a quick break. On the other side, lots of stocks to watch, so don't go anywhere. Our entire team will be with us to help us with the list of top 10 stocks. Stay tuned.